Be me. 29-year-old feminist married to husband for 3 years now. Both work full-time. I'm teacher, he's engineer making decent livings. We got married after dating for 2 years, seemed like good match. Always been passionate about women's rights and bodily autonomy issues. Believe strongly that women should have complete control over their bodies. Husband always supported my beliefs and agreed with my principles. Everything was fine until I started using this principle for everything. Anytime he had concern about my choices, I'd say my body, my choice. Worked great for shutting down conversations I didn't want to have. Never considered this might have consequences for our marriage together. Start using my body, my choice for every health decision I make. Stop going to annual doctor checkups because I don't feel like it. Husband expresses concern, says I should get regular health screenings done. Tell him my body, my choice, he doesn't get to control my health care. He says he's not trying to control, just worried about my health. Say his worry is irrelevant. It's my body and my decision alone. He goes quiet and doesn't bring it up again after that conversation. Feels satisfied that I stood up for my bodily autonomy rights. Don't realize I just shut down his legitimate concern for my well-being. Continue skipping doctor appointments because I decided I don't need them. Gain about 40 pounds over course of a year from lifestyle changes. Stopped going to gym because I decided exercise culture is toxic. Eating whatever I want because diet culture is oppressive to women. Husband notices and gently suggests, maybe we could work out together. Immediately defensive and tell him, my body, my choice. Stop. Policing me. He says he's not policing, just noticed I seem less energetic lately. Tell him that's because I'm exhausted from fighting patriarchy daily. He drops the subject, but I notice him looking concerned sometimes. Feel vindicated that I shut down his attempt to control my body. Continue gaining weight and feeling more tired, but it's my choice. Stop shaving completely because I decide it's patriarchal beauty standard. Husband never demanded I shave, but I know he preferred it before. He notices but doesn't say anything. At first just seems surprised. Finally mentions, maybe I could trim, at least for hygiene purposes. Get angry and lecture him about bodily autonomy and beauty standards. Tell him my body hair is my choice and his preference is irrelevant. He says okay and never brings it up again after that argument. Feel proud that I educated him about problematic beauty standards. Notice he seems less physically affectionate, but tell myself, that's his problem. My body. My choice means I don't have to consider his preferences. Decide to get large visible tattoo on my neck without discussing it. Come home with fresh tattoo, and he's clearly shocked by placement. Asks why I didn't mention I was planning to get neck tattoo. Tell him, because my body, my choice, I don't need his permission. He says not about permission, but we usually discuss big decisions together. Say, tattoo isn't a big decision. It's my body, I can do what I want. He points out neck tattoo might affect my teaching career professionally. Tell him that's discriminatory, and I'll fight it if school has problem. He goes quiet and says, okay, it's your choice, then walks away. Feel annoyed? He's not being supportive of my body. Autonomy choices. Start smoking cigarettes because I decide it's my body. My choice. Never smoked before, but friend does, and I wanted to try it out. Husband comes home and smells smoke, asks if I've been smoking. Tell him, yes, I started smoking because I felt like it at my choice. He looks concerned and says, smoking is really bad for my health. Lecture him about my body, my choice, and how he can't control me. He mentions secondhand smoke affects him too in our shared space. Tell him he's being controlling, and if he doesn't like it, leave room. He starts spending more time in home office away from me, smoking. Notice growing distance, but tell myself he's being unsupportive of my autonomy. Decide to stop taking birth control because hormones felt wrong to me. Don't discuss it with husband. Just stop taking pills one day. Not actively trying to get pregnant, but not preventing it either. Husband asks few weeks later if I'm still on birth control like usual. Tell him, no. I stopped because my body, my choice about hormones. He looks alarmed and says, that's something we should have discussed together. Tell him, no. My body, my healthcare, my choice. He doesn't get input, he says. But pregnancy affects both of us. Shouldn't we decide together? Accuse him of trying to control my reproductive choices like patriarch. He drops it, But I notice he seems hurt and withdrawn after conversation. Month later, and our intimate life has basically stopped completely. He's not initiating anything anymore and seems distant when I try. Ask him what's wrong and why he's being so cold toward me. He says he doesn't feel connected to me anymore and needs space. Tell him he's being ridiculous and needs to get over whatever issue. He says every time he expresses concern, I shut him down with slogans. Says he feels like his feelings and needs don't matter in marriage. Tell him this is about my bodily autonomy, which supersedes his feelings. He stares at me for a long moment, then says, "Maybe you're right." Doesn't elaborate, just goes back to keeping distance from me emotionally. Notice he's been looking at apartments online on his computer. Confront him and ask why he's looking at other places to live. He says calmly that he's thinking about separating for a while. Feels shocked and betrayed. Ask how he could do this to marriage. He says he's been trying to talk to me for months, but I won't listen. Every concern he raises gets shut down with my body, my choice. Says he feels like he's not a partner, just a roommate. I lecture constantly. Tell him he's being dramatic and trying to manipulate me emotionally. He shakes his head sadly and says, "That's exactly what he means." Walks away, and I'm left standing there confused about what happened. Talk to my feminist friends about situation, expecting them to agree. Tell them husband is being controlling and not respecting my autonomy. List all the times I had to tell him my body, my choice. They're quiet for a moment. Then one asks if I ever considered his perspective. Get defensive and say his perspective doesn't matter. It's my body. Friend gently points out, marriage is partnership that requires compromise sometimes. Other friend says, bodily autonomy doesn't mean ignoring partner's legitimate concerns. Tell them they sound like they're siding with patriarchy against me. They exchange glances and say, maybe I'm taking things too far here. Feel betrayed that even my friends don't understand my principles. Week later, and husband sits me down for serious conversation. Says he's been doing a lot of thinking about our marriage lately. Tells me he loves me, but can't continue in relationship like this. Every time he tries to express concern or preference, I weaponize autonomy. Says marriage requires two people considering each other's needs and feelings. I've made it clear his needs and feelings are irrelevant to my choices. Tells me you're absolutely right. It's your body and your choice always. So he's making choice too, and he's choosing to leave marriage. Feel shock wash over me. Didn't think he'd actually go through with it. Try to argue that he's overreacting and being too sensitive. He calmly says, no, he's finally accepting what I've been telling him. I've been saying his input doesn't matter, so he's stopping giving it, says my body. My choice also means his body, his choice to leave. Tells me I can make all my own choices now without his input. He's choosing to find partner who actually wants his perspective included. Feel panic rising because I didn't think this would actually happen. Tell him I was just standing up for my bodily autonomy rights. He says yes, and he's standing up for his right to be respected partner. He moves out the following week, taking his things to new apartment. I'm left alone in our place, realizing what my principles cost me. Never thought husband would actually leave over my body, my choice stance. Assumed he'd always be there, even while I dismissed his concerns. Sit in empty apartment understanding, I pushed him away completely myself. Use bodily autonomy as weapon to shut down any conversation I disliked. Never considered that partnership requires actually considering your partner. Thought feminism meant never having to care what husband thinks or feels. Months pass, and divorce proceedings move forward quickly and cleanly. He's civil, but distant, doesn't try to change my mind or fight for us. Tells lawyer he accepts we're incompatible and wants clean break. I'm still processing how standing up for my rights ended my marriage. Talk to therapist about what happened, and she asks hard questions. Asks if I was using autonomy principle to avoid compromise and communication. Points out marriage requires mutual consideration, not just individual rights. Realize I was using my body, my choice to shut down his legitimate concerns. Therapist asks if I ever considered his needs or just my own. Think back and realize I never once asked what he needed from me. Every conversation was about my rights, my choices, my autonomy, my decisions. Never made space for his feelings, his concerns, his needs in partnership. Used feminism as shield against having to be considerate partner. Told myself his preferences didn't matter because it was my body. But marriage means bodies don't exist in isolation from each other anymore. My choices affected him too, and I refused to acknowledge that reality. Understand now that bodily autonomy doesn't mean partner has no voice. Means they can't force you, but you should still hear their concerns. Dismissing every worry with slogan isn't liberation. It's relationship suicide. He never tried to control me, just wanted to be heard and considered. I treated his legitimate concerns as attacks on my feminist principles. Could have said my body, my choice, and still listened to his perspective. Instead, I used it as conversation ender that pushed him further away. Took principle meant to protect against coercion and weaponized it against partnership. Realized I was so focused on my individual rights, I forgot about us. Marriage isn't about two individuals asserting rights against each other constantly. It's about two people building shared life with mutual consideration. My body, my choice is absolutely valid principle in appropriate contexts, but I applied it to everything, including decisions that affected him directly. Refused to see difference between bodily autonomy and basic relationship consideration. Thought being good feminist meant never compromising or considering partner's needs. Learned painful lesson that rights without responsibility destroys relationships. Year after divorce and reflecting on how my ideology hurt my marriage, still believe in bodily autonomy, absolutely as fundamental women's right. But understand now, there's difference between rights and relationship dynamics. Could have maintained my autonomy while still being a considerate partner. Could have made my choices while acknowledging they affected him too. Could have listened to his concerns without feeling controlled or oppressed. Instead, I treated every conversation like political battle to be won. Husband wasn't my oppressor. He was my partner, trying to be heard. See him occasionally around town. He seems to be doing well now. Heard through mutual friends. He's dating someone new who seems nice. Apparently, she values his input, and they make decisions together cooperatively. Feel jealous that someone else gets the partnership I threw away. Realize he wasn't the problem with our marriage. I was the problem. Use my principles as excuse to be inconsiderate and dismissive constantly. Told myself I was being strong feminist when really being terrible partner. Bodily autonomy is important, but so is being person someone wants partnership with. Talk to friends now about what I learned from my divorce experience. Explain how I use bodily autonomy principle to avoid being good partner. Thought feminism meant never considering husband's perspective or needs at all. Learned that rights exist in context and marriage requires mutual consideration. Can stand up for myself while still caring about partner's legitimate concerns. Friends say they're glad I learned this, even though cost was high. One admits she was making same mistakes in her own relationship. Realized she was using autonomy language to shut down her boyfriend too. Understand now that good feminism includes being good partner to others. Standing up for rights doesn't mean steamrolling over partners' feelings constantly. Marriage requires balance between individual autonomy and mutual consideration. Always. My body. My choice is valid, but so is listening when partner expresses concern. Could have maintained my principles while still being a considerate person. Instead, I chose ideology over relationship and lost husband as a result. Most expensive political stance I ever took cost me my marriage entirely. Learned that being right doesn't matter if you're alone at the end.